Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you're not new here. I don't want to do like a dramatized intro today because I'm not gonna lie, I don't really see this topic as drama. This is real people's lives. There's law enforcement involved. There's a lot of allegations, and I don't want to sensationalize it like it has been sensationalized. It's something that I do not agree with, and something that I will not be doing on my channel because this is real life. This is someone's mum that we're going to be talking about today. There's children involved, but today we're going to be covering Taylor Frankie Paul. I'm going to be talking about her rise to fame on TikTok, kind of, but mostly we're going to be talking about the swinging scandal, how that made them go into Netflix, and then from Netflix, the current allegations. Everything is alleged in this video because I do not know the truth, but I think you can make a pretty good assumption based on what I'm going to show you guys here today. That being said as well, I do want to put a trigger warning for DV before we get into the video. So if you are triggered by DV or children being involved in DV, click off. Anyways, let's get into it. So Taylor Frankie Paul, I'm just going to start off with the fact that she basically created this thing called Mum Talk. I say created. Mum Talk is like a bunch of Utah mums and they get together and they do like TikTok dances. They do like little TikTok trends and whatever. This like group of women managed to get quite popular on TikTok. There was like a core group. Now I do want to also point out that a lot of these Utah mum influencers are Mormons, aka Church of Latter-day Saints. However, they refer to themselves as Mormons in this series, so I'm going to be using the word Mormons when I describe the Church of Latter-day Saints religion. Because a lot of these women were raised Mormon, they had kids quite young, they got married quite young, so a lot of these women, they have like 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, and they are literally only like 25, which is insane to me, but you know, everybody has their own values. I'm not only bringing up Mormonism just to be like, oh my god, they have a lot of kids and they're really young. No, another reason I'm bringing up is because there are a lot of things that are taboo in the Mormon church, such as like sex before marriage, sleeping around, you know, it's quite permitted to be more traditional. So you date somebody and you date them for a very short amount of time, usually, and then you get married and then you have kids. Having kids without marriage is quite looked down on from what I read. Sleeping with somebody before marriage is also looked down on. So is infidelity. And that brings me to the first scandal, which was the Mum Talk swinging scandal. So in this little group of mums that were in Mum Talk, right, a few of them were basically doing soft swinging. Some of them aren't full swinging, and they were just doing this behind the scenes. And obviously to TikTok, to the world, they all looked like they were just basic, like normal wives, like normal housewives, but they actually weren't. Taylor Frankie Paul came on TikTok live and exposed everything. She kind of threw it out there. She was like, guys, we've been swinging, we've been soft swinging, this is what actually happened.
The agreement, I already told you guys that the agreement was just like, as long as we were both there and we saw it and we knew it was okay, and the second it goes behind without each other, then that's, you stepped out of the agreement. And I did that. So I guess this is just starting more questions. Soft swinging, again, is when you like just hook up but you don't go all the way. It is really unfortunate for the kids, and it's been really, really sad. We obviously weren't thinking clearly and thinking about other people, and to be honest, yes, I feel like that is selfish of me, and all of us really, to not think about that in our families and how this could affect them and their reputation now. None of us were really thinking that, and it's not fair to them. It's been a lot of mourning and grieving this week with them and apologizing. This is the first day I've been able to actually like really talk about it, I guess, and I really don't want to talk about it after this live. I just want to let it go. I've messed up, other people have messed up, and that's that. I've already given the long story short. No, guys, not none. Some majority of Mom Talk is not involved, just to clear that up. Yeah, majority of them are not involved. And they've been really sweet to me and texting me, and they know that there's two sides to the story. So if they're on here, thank you for that. There's plenty more details that I'm not going to say online that also will never be told, which sucks. But yeah. I'm just going to keep a lot of it to myself, and if everyone wants to hate me, that's fine. I will take it. But yeah. I already told you that people are going to come out and deny it, and that's fine. No one's going to come and admit all of this. Like, I think I'm the only one that will probably stand here and admit it and say that I was involved. But obviously this was not a one-man job. This wasn't two-man. This was a group of people. The friend falling out was a group of people, and reasons why they're not going to come out and admit that, and that's okay. We're going to split the kids. I'll probably have him more just because my job's flexible and he works like a sales job, so I'll probably have him more often. This with our friends has been going on for about a year and a half. Yeah, and then as time went on, more people got involved. For Tate and I think it's best that we separate and divorce and kind of find ourselves and find what makes us happy. Start fresh. I think there's been a lot of evil around us, and we've participated in, obviously what I'm saying is like bad things, and I think we need a fresh start and to kind of wake up. This was a good wake-up call, I think, for us and our entire friend group to get our lives in check and to wake up. The separate bedroom wasn't like, that wasn't like a reason. We actually love separate bedrooms, and that wasn't an issue. That's not the issue. Yeah.
And this in itself was a massive controversy because these women were portraying themselves as these, married, traditional housewives. Everything is so perfect. And then they were actually just soft swinging. It was a very stark difference to the portrayal and the actual reality. And Taylor Frankie Paul was the catalyst for that, coming out. She was the one who started the TikTok live, and she was the one that basically blew the lid off this swinging scandal. Now, at the time, Taylor was married and she had 2 kids with her husband. However, they did divorce because of the swinging scandal, and I don't really know the custody agreements, but it does look like Taylor has the kids majority of the time. I don't really know that. That's just from watching the show and watching her TikToks. It seems like she does, but I do not know, and I don't think it's really out there who has how much custody. Another thing is, because Taylor came on TikTok live and she exposed all this, she has a reputation of being the real and honest person in the group. She's got a reputation of being very forefront and just telling the truth. And this is important because later on we will see that this kind of backfires. The Secret Lives of Mum Wives then starts, and season 1 is released. And I'm not going to go through the whole season. I have a season recap on my channel, but I will mention episode 1 because episode 1 is very Taylor heavy. So like I just said before, Taylor had gotten divorced from her husband, and she had started dating pretty quickly after the divorce. I will say, I'm not gonna shame her for dating or moving on quickly after the divorce, because I have moved on quickly after a breakup. In Utah's quite religious, and being divorced is a little bit shameful. I would probably step back and be like, I need to process this. But she didn't. She went right into dating, and she was dating a guy called Dakota. Now, Dakota has a history of drug abuse and alcohol abuse, just drug problems and alcohol problems. So in episode 1, we are told that Dakota does not drink because he doesn't want to bring all these issues up. Taylor, however, says that she can't give up drinking because she just likes it. This is something as well that is against the Mormon church, but as you will know if you've watched the season and the whole series, really, these girls kind of pick and choose what religious passages to follow. And not drinking alcohol, some of them do it, some of them don't. It really depends who in Mum Talk you are talking about, so I can't generalize the whole group for this, but I'm mostly talking about Taylor. So Taylor does still drink, and Dakota does not drink because it's not good for him. We then see in the first episode everything else, kind of how they are together and their relationship, and it's a little bit weird because him not drinking and her drinking is kind of made out to be a little bit weird or a little bit of a problem. But other than that, we just see quite a neutral edit about the two until the end of the episode. This is when we see police footage of Taylor and Dakota. They had a massive fight, and the police have split them up. The police have knocked on their door because a neighbor had called.
Do you have any injuries?
No, I think I'm okay. My fingers hurt. I think I'm okay.
Can I see your hands?
Yeah, I just want to go to bed.
Just go like this.
I just want to go to bed. I think I'm okay. I'm good.
What about the other side?
I don't want to I'm sorry, I just want my dad.
She's going through a lot right now. With her divorce and stuff. I think that's just been really hard on her. And she hasn't done any therapy.
And that's a different relationship?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that wasn't that long ago, so it's very fresh. So we got in a relationship really pretty soon after her divorce. And so that's why it's been hard. It's just been like a lot, I think, for her.
Okay.
She's going through a lot. She's the type to where, yeah, it's hard for her, I think, to get help. You know.
Tell me what happened with the little wooden thing in the garage in his truck. Like, what happened outside at the truck?
Out thinking that Taylor was in trouble. The police split the two up and then they kind of questioned them, and we see a little bit of this footage, and that's all we kind of knew of this incident. Taylor did get charged with DV because she threw a chair at Dakota. We know as well that the fight was started because Dakota had picked her up from a girls' night and she was a little bit tipsy, and it kind of, the argument started in the car when he had picked her up, and it just prolonged and continued when they got to the house. Now, that's all we've known. This came out early to mid 2024. Taylor and Dakota do get back together and they currently have a kid together, and since then they have been on and off. Throughout the series, we do all see that this relationship isn't really the best. I want to say it's toxic or abusive, but I really can't say anything because, as we know, like, the shows edit a lot and everything kind of is edited to look one way, and maybe it's in the show's best interest for Taylor and Dakota to not have the healthiest of relationships. But I will say, even if we say, oh, it's been edited to look one way, Taylor does look very distressed in a lot of footage whenever Dakota comes up. Dakota does seem like he lies a lot. They say a lot that he cheats, and I'm usually not one to defend a cheater, but I don't really think Dakota is cheating. He's just not telling the truth to Taylor. But because they're so on and off, whenever they're off, Dakota has a habit of going and sleeping with random women, and then Taylor will ask him, have you slept with someone? And Dakota will say no, and Taylor will be like, ha, I got you, you did sleep with someone. And it kind of just goes around in this circle, and I don't know why one of them doesn't just say enough and breaks out of it, but it's not my relationship, and obviously, because they have a kid, they are kind of tied to each other for life, which sucks. I just don't think it is a healthy relationship. The way it's portrayed in the show is not a healthy relationship whatsoever. But let's just time jump to 2026. This year, it was revealed that Taylor was going to be the next Bachelorette, which, if you've not watched The Bachelor, it's basically like a dating show, and Taylor was basically going to be dating a bunch of men and picking the best one and trying to find the love of her life on this show. Big problem, though, is, like I mentioned before, her and Dakota have a crazy on and off relationship. Like, and by crazy I mean like they are constantly on, they're constantly off, and they just seem to constantly be in connection. Like, even when they're off, they're still somehow on. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, there are on and off relationships where they genuinely are on and off. Like, they'll be like, right, we've broken up, and they break up for like 6 months and then they get back together. No, Taylor and Dakota seem like a 1 week on, 1 week off spiral, and it's insane. And not only that, but even when they are off, they do seem to sleep together. So it is so messy, and Taylor did get backlash for being chosen as the Bachelorette because she's not really processed Dakota. She kind of needs to go to therapy and process this like relationship because it's not good for her. And not only that, but there's no way that she can go and find the love of her life when she is obsessed with Dakota still. This did create a lot of hype for season 4 of Secret Lives of Mum and Wives, and that was released, I'd say, around a month ago. And season 4, I'm not gonna lie, did not paint Taylor in a good light. This is the first season, I'd say, where Taylor doesn't seem the best. Like, in the last seasons, she also seems to be like a little bit insane and a little bit overreactive about Dakota, but we kind of think it makes sense because she just had a kid, and I don't know why, to be fair, why we kind of excused it. I think it's just because Taylor was known as being like messy. One of the big plot points in season 4 is Dakota goes on to Vanderpump Villa. I don't know what Vanderpump Villa is, guys, do not ask me, but they were on a break. Taylor and Dakota were on a break, and he ended up sleeping with somebody at the Vanderpump Villa. When he gets back, obviously he doesn't tell Taylor, and he tells all his friends who he went to the Vanderpump Villa with his friends, he tells all of them, don't tell Taylor. Probably because he knows that shit is going to go down if one of them tells Taylor. Jordan, which is Jesse's husband, tells Jesse, and Jesse tells Taylor, like, hey, Dakota slept with somebody at Vanderpump Villa. Obviously this does not go down good. And Taylor was very upset, very, very upset. And she proceeds to call Dakota. I might try and insert the clip if I will not get copyrighted. But if I do, I'm just going to explain it to you guys now. She calls Dakota in front of Jesse. And she's like, did you enjoy it? And he's like, no, I didn't enjoy it. And then Taylor's like, did you finish? And he's like, yeah, I did. And she loses it. And I think the fact that you're already asking questions like that to a guy that you are off with right now, like you are not in a relationship with, is insane. The fact that you are upset over the fact that he slept with somebody else when you guys are broken up is insane. I know that they have a kid together, and I know like there's a connection in that sense, but I think if I broke up with like my boyfriend and he went and slept with somebody and I called him being like, did you enjoy it? My friends would be like, Milana, you are insane. Why are you doing that? The night before Taylor is supposed to leave for the Bachelorette, she sleeps with Dakota, or at least it's speculated that she sleeps with Dakota, because Dakota comes round to hers and then he leaves the morning of and he's quite cheery. And then Taylor is like, I'm not going to get on my flight. I'm not going to get on my flight to go and film the Bachelorette. Everyone's like, girl, you have to get on your flight. Eventually she does get on a flight, but when she lands, she is on a FaceTime call. She kind of reveals, because she does not use protection, that she might be pregnant. So we're going to have a pregnant Bachelorette. Okay, these men are going to be fighting for a woman who's pregnant with her ex-boyfriend's / baby daddy's baby. Obviously did not paint her in a good light whatsoever. And a lot of people were questioning why The Bachelor chose to have Taylor as the Bachelorette, because I'm not gonna lie, but Taylor's not really serious, and I don't think Taylor is looking for love. She just seems to be looking for mess, and she is definitely finding it. That's kind of where the petty, like the drama ends. What I'm going to talk about now is a little bit more serious and a little bit more intense. So if you are triggered by DV, please click off. But before the Bachelor season aired for Taylor, a video got leaked by TMZ of Taylor abusing Dakota. I don't want to describe everything that happens in the video, and I don't want to paste the video here because it is triggering, and I think it could be very triggering to a lot of people. But there is a bit in the video that a lot of people, me included, are very upset by, where Taylor grabs this like metal bar stool and she throws it at Dakota. You can hear her daughter is in the background. Her daughter's like sitting there watching TV or something. I don't know, like they've got like an open plan house, I think, where the bar stools are on one side and then we are kind of seeing what's happening here, which is like the living room. Dakota kind of shifts a little bit closer to Taylor's daughter. I don't know why, maybe to protect her. Taylor throws a bar stool, one of these metal bar stools, and it hits her daughter. And you can hear her daughter be hit. Dakota is saying like, oh my god, like be careful, your daughter's here. And the one thing that really irks me about this video is the fact that until the bar stool was thrown at the daughter, which it didn't mean to hit the daughter, but it just did, is that she doesn't react to this. And I feel like that's a massive indicator of the fact that this is normal behaviour for Taylor, or at least this child is used to Taylor having these outbursts and throwing things and whatnot, and that is really upsetting to me. This all came to light because Taylor has been charged with another DV charge based off of the fact that she tried to do something to Dakota with a necklace. I can't say it on YouTube because this video would literally get deleted. This seems to be a pattern for Taylor. I do want to talk about, a lot of people are saying that this could be reactive abuse. Reactive abuse is something that happens when you're being abused and you kind of act out in response to the abuse that you faced. Could this be reactive abuse? Possibly, but at the same time, it's still abuse. And my focus isn't on the why, it's more on the who is involved, and the fact that a child is involved and a child has been hurt. That really upsets me, and I don't think that children should have to grow up in these conditions. I'm kind of just like stuttering all over the place because I can't really describe how this is horrible, this is terrible. I had children who probably have witnessed this or stuff like this already to go through this, and the internet still speculating like, oh, this could be reactive abuse, or oh, this could be this could be that. It honestly sickens me because I don't think that we should be speculating on if this is reactive abuse or whatever this is. There are children here, and these children are not being protected, and these children are not being loved in the way that a parent should love their children, which is really, really sad, and that's really upsetting. But that's all I have to say on that matter. The Bachelor eventually did cancel. They didn't really cancel. They didn't say like, oh, this season isn't being aired. It said it's not being released at this time. So eventually I assume we are going to see this season. It might be silly of me to assume, but I do think we actually will see this season. I don't know why, I just have an inkling that they aren't going to not air this season that they spent millions to film. Taylor also released a statement. I'm going to read it out, and I think this is where we're going to end the video, because this video is a very hard video for me to film. Taylor says, Taylor is very grateful for ABC's support as she prioritizes her family's safety and security. After years of silently suffering extensive mental and physical abuse, as well as threats of retaliation, Taylor is finally gaining the strength to face her accuser and taking steps to ensure that she and her children are protected from any future harm. There are too many women who are suffering in silence as they survive aggressive, jealous ex-partners who refuse to let them move on with their lives. Taylor has remained silent out of fear of further abuse, retaliation, and public shaming. She is currently exploring all of her options, seeking support and preparing to own and share her story. I honestly was a terrible statement, because this kind of falls back onto the fact that, oh, this was reactive abuse, and Taylor is only like this because Dakota, who is an abuser himself, has driven her to this. I don't think that's a good way to frame any of this, and I do not think that they should have framed any of this in this way. Because no matter what, abuse is bad, and no matter what, a child was hurt, and the statement should have focused on that. The statement should have focused on the fact that a child was hurt and Taylor needs to get help. I do care, obviously, if she has been abused by her partners, but I care more about the fact that there are children involved, and the fact that Taylor maybe should have found a different way to retaliate. You know what I mean? And I don't really know what I hope for this situation. It's such a messy situation because we knew this. We knew this since episode 1, season 1 of Secret Lives of Mama Wives. We knew that Taylor was like this. Yet for some reason it feels bigger than it actually felt back then. And it begs the question, what is the right thing to do? Should Taylor be booed off the internet forever, even if this was reactive abuse? But if it wasn't reactive abuse and it was just abuse, should she still be booed off? At the end of the day, all I want to know is that these children are safe and that they're being cared for, and that Taylor's getting help and her children are safe and sound, and getting some form of mental support to support them through this. Because if they go to school, I think they are school age, I can't imagine how terrible it is, and I can't imagine how it must feel. So I really hope they are getting through this okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry that this video is a little bit more serious, but I don't want to make fun, or I don't want to I don't want to take this and talk about it like it's some drama and make jokes and whatever, because this is very serious, and I'm very sensitive to children being involved in stuff like this, and it really, really hurts me and makes me upset. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you in another video. Bye bye.